Thank you, Malim, for the introduction. So, karibuni sana, welcome all. I know maybe most of you or some of you might not have joined our first class. So, we are going to do a small recap of what we did last time. There's some notes we had, of course. I know due to the technicality and availability of sometimes, most of you might not have gone through them. So I'll just take you through briefly on GitHub. And because today is more of practical session, allow me to move fast with time, hoping that most of you downloaded the Git bash or the Git for Windows, the Git for Windows. I'm going to share the link ASAP right now in this chat. Allow me just to share my screen real quick. So this is the, just a second. I want to hide this. Yes, perfect. So what you do is that you go to the web and once you click the link that I'm sharing in your chat, it's going to take you to this place where we have, I've already shared the link, where we have the Git version 2.47.0 to download for Windows. And the Git looks like this. This is how it looks like once you install it. Git bash. This is how it looks like. Let me just show you in a second. So this is how it looks like. Oh, so this is what you're going to experience. So you'll have your username, are you together? And then it will take you to the masters. If you already have a GitHub account, you'll be able to have it. And of course, if you initialize, definitely going to take you back to where your Git repository exists or whatever. Are you together? So now let's start. Let's start with our short note overview over here. And I want to start by saying that GitHub it's a virtual control system. It's a virtual control system, a VCS, whereby it helps you to manage your project, manage your files. You can be able to collaborate with what we call other analysts in different parts of the world. And it also helps you to, of course, act to store or act as a repository, online repository, whereby you can be able to refer to your files in the future. You can use them as a portfolio to the recruiters and so on and so forth. So the first thing is to define what is Git and GitHub. And now we say it's a distributed version control system used for tracking changes in files and coordinating work on projects among multiple people. So it can either be individual or it can also be a group of people in different cases. Now, in that whole particular case, you'll find that it helps you to track. So you'll be able to know where did the last person stop, are you together, and what did they do? Did they commit any changes? Was there any changes that were done yesterday, and by who and when? Are you together? They help you to do that tracking. And then the other thing is about coordinating. You can be able to coordinate work on projects. In terms of delegation, you can know which group is working on which phase of the project and what are they supposed to do. Now, the GitHub itself, there's a difference between Git and GitHub. Now, the GitHub is now the web-based platform that uses Git for what? Version control and collaboration. Most people call GitHub. Are you together? People call Git GitHub, but what you call GitHub is just a user interface. So what I can refer to user interface, or where the user interact with the Git now in this particular case. Now we have key concepts, and one of it is repository, or we can call it in other words repo, and a project or directory containing files and folders with the entire history of the changes is essentially what we call your project folder. Are you together? So the repo is what contains your files, whatever contains within your files or folders. is what you're talking about, your repo. And of course, it is within a particular repository that you can create multiple repositories within Git account. Are you together? And then the other thing is commit. This is what we call a safe snapshot of your project to present a point in the project history. So anything that you commit, for example, let's say you've made some changes or you have a new project and then you commit them to the GitHub, it means that what you're doing, that you are pushing them. Of course, there's that aspect of pushing. You'll do what you call the push command and all that. But first you commit, then you push. So now whatever you're committing, it is saved as a snapshot of your project. Are you together? And of course, it represents a point in the project. So you'll have to say commit, and then you give, what do you call it? You give a comment. You give, when you're committing, you give a comment on what you are committing. Every time you're committing something, you have to comment below and tell us what you've done and what it contains. Now, the other thing is about branch, which is a separate line of development. Main or master branch is the default, as you have seen in my Git bash. But you can create other branches to work on new features. Actually, what happens, you maintain the master or the main branch, but you work on the sub branch or what you can call other branches. And then if your work is clean and you feel now this work has been reviewed by supervisor and he's satisfied, then if he has the global access or the global rights, he can merge your work with other groups works to to create one harmonious repository, in this particular case, into the main master or into the main branch, so to speak. So you'll find that if, let's say, we are working to a certain project for about 3 groups or 4 groups, so each group will have their own branch. And then we shall maintain the master branch as the default one. Are you together? So now when you work on your other branches and your work is reviewed and it has passed the test, then we can merge it to the major pipelines. It's like you are working on the side roads. You see, for example, let me give a good scenario here. There is this construction idea. You find people, the road has been diverted by the construction's company. They have created a diversion somewhere, but they're constructing the main road. Are you together? So now those diversions will eventually lead you back to the main road. Are you together? So what will happen is that those diversions are what I'm referring to as other branches. But the main one, which is being constructed, is what we are calling master branch or the default. So once you are done with the the other branches of the diversions, you'll come back, you'll converge back to the master. Then we have the merge, which is all about combining changes from one branch into another, typically from from a feature branch into the main branch. Now, this is what you're talking about, the diversion. Are you together? Then we have the pull request or PR, a request to merge changes from one branch into another, which is often used for code review before merging. So pull request, are you together? To merge, you are pulling, right? For example, what we can say, you are working in multiple branches and you want to bring those changes together. Are you together? So you push, or let's say, for example, you pull request using the commands. Are you together? Now to merge other people's changes into the main branch. Are you together, or to the master branch? But of course, it has to be reviewed before merging. You have to review and say, okay, this work has passed the criteria and all that. The cloning, this is just creating a local copy of a repository. We'll do this. First thing after you create a repository, what you do is just you clone. Then another thing is about fork, which is making a copy of a repository from another GitHub account into your own, so you can make changes without affecting the original project. For example, if you are accessing someone else's repository, you can fork it. You use the fork commands, and you make a copy of what he has on the other side. And then you push your changes, but the default one still remains intact without being affected. The remote version of your what you call your project stored on GitHub, as opposed to the stored one on your local computer. So this is now what we call the version of your project stored in the Git, where you can be able to access it in the GitHub, what you call the user interface or the web user interface over here. So we have the remote, what do you call it, version. For example, if right now we create a repository, then we push our project, we are going to create what we call a remote repository or a remote version in this case. Then we have the push, which is now setting committed changes. Together, after you commit, you push together from your local repository to the remote repo on GitHub. Lastly, like we have said here, we have the pull request. Now we have the pull functionality or the push pull command, which is fetching the latest changes from the remote repo to your local. When you pull your repo, you are telling the remote whatever, what do you call it? The remote version to give you the latest changes that it has, or in case somebody has pushed and you want to know who has pushed or committed some changes in the repository, you do the pull command. Then now this is the setup bit of it, whereby we have to download and install the Git. I've already given the link, you have it there. And then you can be able to configure with your email address, whereby you just do Git command, Git config global username, then you give the name that you want to give. And of course, you give your email address that you created the GitHub account with on Google or either any other browser that you have used. Any questions so far before we move on? Any question? Just let's continue. So let me know how many people have their projects in the local folder, local machine. Do we have anyone who has some projects they have done in the past few weeks? Raise up your hand if you have any projects. I know you've done quite a number of them. So what we are going to do, any assignment that you have, we are going to push it. We are going to, first of all, access our GitHub account. That's the first thing. I hope most of you have installed the Git bash. So let me just share my screen very fast. So I am going to access my GitHub account. And how you go about it is that if you just have to come here to the GitHub sign in, or login, so to speak. And then, of course, you click the login button here. It's supposed to take you to the login. But for me, of course, I have already logged in, so I don't have to, log in twice and all that. So that's the first thing. So this is the landing page that most of you will get. I remember we did some changes last time, and I shared this kind of README file with you for you to edit, whereby we say the first thing that you need to do is to give a good impression to the person who is accessing your GitHub account. Let them know what you're doing, what's your name, what have you learned in the past, maybe 6 months or 12 years, so to speak. What are your interests? Are you together? What are you looking for a job actively, or do you have a job, or what type of level of job are you trying to look for to get? Is it entry job? Is it internship? Is it mid level, or is it senior? Are you together? So this is where now you come and say, this is who I am. Hello, I am so and so. I hold maybe your background in terms of what do you call it, career, either at a graduate or if you have done masters, so to speak. What are you doing currently? Are you together? Have you graduated recently in any of the tools that you are using currently, for example, Tableau, Power BI, SQL, and others, something of the sort? Are you together? And of course, if there is now like us, we've schooled at 7-8. So here you just embed our website. If someone want to, let's say, for example, to come and see, our website, to see what we are doing, or to validate what you have said over there, you can just click the link and go to 7net data analytic and data science over here, and they'll see, okay, these are the types of modules being offered, blah, blah, blah. If they want to read more and all that, at least that shows you that there is what we call credibility purposes, for credibility purposes and all that. If they want to go through overview and see, maybe, for example, client review and all that, something of the sort. So that's very nice. It's good to capture from what, where, or what you've learned and where you learned that. Then we didn't do my GitHub statistics based on maybe the total commits. What do you call the total commit that we've done for 2024? Because I assume you are doing this for the first time. Together, this is what you're doing for the first time. So therefore, we don't have to have much. Then on this other side, it's also good to give some, what do you call it? Some, give your full name. Don't give pseudonym. Don't give, what do we call it? Nicknames. Don't give nicknames here. Please use your official name. If you are called Gabriel Macharia Mode like myself, you just put it there. A little bit of your bio, you're passionate about what, software developer, data analyst, cybersecurity nerd, and of course, passionate about life and something of the sort. Pronouns, if you have, if you he and him, you can put them. Do you have any incorporation, for example? Yes, if I studied in Jagad, incorporation for you, you can just put here 7net LLC. Are you together? Location, for example, this guy was in Italy. I did it in Italy. Display the local current time if you want. If you have a website, so to speak. Social media account. This is LinkedIn. Remember, this is generated by GitHub. Are you together? Do we have what we call social media, any other like Facebook, any other platform that you use to collaborate, like workflow or something of the sort? And then when you're done, you just click save, blah, 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 and then everything will be updated here. Like, for example, you see the he, him here has already been updated. It's good to make it look more pleasant, and then you can upload a very nice photo. I just took mine here. I was preaching somewhere and I said, guys, take me one. I want to upload it to GitHub so that people can be able to see me preaching somewhere, and it looks nice for today. And therefore, now we can be able to go to the main repository whereby we are supposed to create a repo and then upload our projects. Any questions so far? We are good? Perfect. Perfect. So now, when you look at this particular menu, we have the overview, we have the repositories, we have the project, packages, and stars. This depends with how many people have visited your Git repo and they've seen what you've been doing over here. And if they're okay, they say okay, they star those projects and all that, and something of the sort. So at least they can be able to see what have you been creating, what have you been creating, and so on and so forth. For the project, in this particular case, if you are working on a project, you just create a new project and you give it a name. The project helps you to have multiple repository under it. Under the project, you can have multiple repositories, so to speak. So, but you can have a single repository here and be in a position to push your code. So the first thing that you need to do is to create a repository here where it is written new. Are you together? Of course, before we go there, we have the sort functionality where you can sort it either by name, the stars, or what do you call it? If it is by name, we shall have from the alphabetical order, that's from A to Z. If it is by stars, of course, the one that has got more stars will come first. Then the few ones will have less stars. Like now, you see here, I have 2 stars. I have 1 star, 1 star here, and here I have another 1 star. If you had a project that has got more than 2 star, then it will be showcased first compared to others. If you want to sort it like last updated, now this has got no order, it's just a matter of time, and be able to see that these are the first project that were updated last week and all that as a result of sorting out. So the language that you want to select, if you have pushed your codes with different languages, be it Python, CSS, HTML, Jupyter Notebook, and all that, you can either maybe, for example, filter this either by HTML language, and you can see it is highlighted over here, depending on how many language that project was developed with. For example, if you select, for example, JavaScript or CSS, for example, or Jupyter Notebook, it is going to give you that particular corner. And of course, when you open this particular repository, you'll find that the language that was used there was a Jupyter Notebook, which is Python. Then we have, if it is CSS, for example, if there is any project that was created using just CSS, to be specific in terms of the percentage to be able to appear. But for the ease of access to all repository, the best thing is just to sort it in terms of all languages. Then in terms of type over here, we have what you call either public, private, sources, forked, archived. And you said forked is you are cloning someone else's repository without interfering with the original repo. Together. Then we have the archived, where it can be sponsored, mirrors, or template, and so on and so forth. So in this case, we set it into default here. You just say all, and then you come to language, you say all, and then you come to sort, you say last updated, and you're good to go. So we go to the creation of new repository here. And in this case, we are going to give it a name. We are going to give it 7.8, or let me just use a simple whatever word, Excel. Let's put it Excel to be, yes, we're going to give it Excel 2024. Maybe you can use underscore Excel underscore 2024 right together. So, and if it is not available, you'll see it here. If it is not available, you'll have to see it, tell you it is maybe taken. Like for example, if I had a repo and I gave it a specific name, so to speak, coming here, let me just go to my login page and let me go to my profile. If let's say, for example, I take the name September cohort. So if I come here and I give that name, it's going to tell me that the repository SEP cohort is already exists on this account. So we cannot be able to give that particular repository the same name. So we have to change it. And therefore, that's why we are taking, what do you call it, Excel 2024. Then what is the description all about? Together. If it is 7.8, what data science, so to speak, then, or let's say, for example, it is Excel for, let me put here, it's Excel for data science, Excel for data science training, from when? From maybe October underscore to November, October to November. Let's say 2024. So you give a bit of description of what are you working. Is it public or private? I'll put it private because I don't want this to go into public domain. For you, the project that you have done should be public because you want the recruiters to see what you've been doing. Do you want to add a README file for me? For now, I may not add it because maybe I want to bring it later and of course add there. So I'm going to create this repository over here, right together. The first thing that you get into, are you not seeing my screen?
We are seeing it.
Yes, I can see one of you is saying, can you share screen while doing this? Gather, I think it could be your network somehow. Kindly try to restart or try to check a few things in there. Yep. Yeah, so this is the landing page after you create the repository. First of all, you have what you call the quick setup. So now we have a link to our Git a repository, which we are going to clone. This is what you're going to clone first of all, before we push our code. And then we have what we call the README. You can be able to create your README still at the same time and add some changes later on. I will show you that, whereby you can see here we recommend that every repository to include what? Include a README. You have the license if you want, and all that. You can create a new file, for example, if you want to upload. Here you can do even upload an existing file. I don't want you to do the uploading bit of it because we said if you have changes that you have made within your file and you don't want to upload the same file because there will be multiple files with the same name, so to speak. And if somebody will be reviewing your code, they'll be like, now, which file is original? Which one is updated? Which one is the latest? Are you together? Because we have that particular functionality where you can just come here and choose your files, go to your browser, local machine, and be able to select whatever that you want to drag. But this is not the best way. Of course, you can just write an optional extended description over here. The file that you have uploaded, just say what is the name, add the file here. The file that you have added will appear here, and of course you had a description, and then you do the commit. So for this case, I don't want to do that. Sometimes we push our codes the coding way. And the first thing that you're going to do is to copy this. You do this, you copy this repository, and then we go to our Git bash over here. Allow me to run my Git bash. So before then, I'm assuming, let me first take you step by step. I'm assuming you have your folder. Let me share my entire screen. Yeah. Let me. Can you see my files? Can you be able to see my files? Someone confirm?
Yeah. Yes, you
You can
can.
see. You're perfect. Now, I'm assuming you have a folder. You have a folder. You have a folder maybe named 7 so to speak. Are you together? This folder, you have your assignment, the one that you have created. Kwa pamoja. So this is where you have saved your files: Excel project 1, Power BI project 1, Excel project 2, assignment 1, so and so forth. So we are going to create a folder under desktop, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to give it a name. What? Sorry. 641, perfect. I'm going to give it a name, Excel underscore 2024. This is now in the desktop. So I'm assuming this is where my files are. Are you together? So I'm going to copy the file that I have here, and I copy this. Then I come and save it here. Then I want to save it here. Yes. Perfect. So now I want to open this particular file, and then I want to run something we call go to more properties, show more properties. Then you run this one, git bash. Are you together? You run this git bash here. So it's going to take you to now what we call the path or the desktop file where you have saved your what do you call it? Your project. Someone kindly confirm if they can see my git bash user interface. Can you see my user interface?
Yes.
Thank you. Perfect. So the first thing that you need to do is that we need to clone our repository. You see this one here. So we need to copy this, and then we need to clone it to our folder, what do you call it? Our desktop folder. So you do this git clone, and then you paste. You have to paste here. Let me just copy it the way it is. Once you do that, first let me do git initialization. Let me first initialize, then git clone. Supposed to take Just a second. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Now we have cloned an empty repository. You can see this one because we don't have any files under this particular Git repo. So we're not going to expect that we have something here. So now under the Excel, what do you call it? Under the Excel folder, the one that we have over here, we want to see ls means list. So you list to see what do we have, together, what do we have currently in this particular repository, so to speak, together. Then you can even ask for get status to give you the status of your repository. And then it tells you that we are on branch master, no commit yet that has been done, together. Then the untracked files here, use git add files to include what will be committed. So here we have the assignment 4.pdf. We have a folder named Excel 2024. So at least we have, this is like the status that we're talking about. And remember, we are under desktop files, together path, and then we are under this particular folder in this case. So now what happens in this particular case, assuming now we have multiple files, like I said, assuming, so sorry, I just want to create space, it's creating more whatever. All right, assuming now we have multiple files, so to speak, in this case, and I want to commit them. So the first thing is you initialize, the first thing is you initialize your GitHub or GitHub repository. And then if you want to add any README file in that particular case, you add if you have a file for that particular order. And then you commit, and then you give your first comment and all that. Then, of course, if you want to get to the main branch or something of the sort, if you're working on other branches, then good. So now this is how we are going to push our code. First thing, let's say we have, our list is that we have assignment 4. And the first thing that we do is to add this particular file into the pipeline that need to be, what do you call it? To be committed into a GitHub repo called Excel 2024. So you do git add. There's, in this particular case, you can give the name. You can give, what do you call it? You can give, if you click, what do you call it? If you click spacebar, if you just give the initials and you give, you click spacebar, for example, like the way I click, what do you call it? Assignment, and you want to give it a full name. Let me just repeat this whole process. Git add example, and in this case, like for example, you see assignment. Yes, exactly. When you click the spacebar, it is going to take the whole name of your assignment that you're going to push. In this case is when you have a specific file that you want to push. If you have multiple files, let's say within this folder we have different files. We have images, we have data. Oh my goodness, give me a second. All right, so we have multiple data here. We are going to push them because I am assuming that you're working on different work files, right, together. So what we are going to do, we are not going to assign a particular file here, because the moment you do this, definitely it's going to push just one file. Are we together? Then let's first commit this, then we will add more files to just demonstrate in case you have multiple files what we can do. So after you add this particular file, the next thing is you commit. So you say git commit, I together, and then space minus M, and then double quote, and you give your comment here. That's why we say before you commit, tell us what you are committing. So I am committing, I together, my first what assignment for what Excel 2024. Then you push I together. After that, what do? We just what we call we push. We want to push now. So now you come here and push. You get push now that you have committed. So you can see here it says that we have changed one file, 0 insertion and 0 deletion. You see that. And what is the file that we have created? Assignment 4.pdf. Are you together? So you can see this is your comment here. I'm committing my first assignment for Exam 24. This is the comment that is going with your file. And I'm committing my first assignment. You can see your name and email address configured based on that. Of course, it takes even your email, the one that I'm using for this particular case. If it is a work account or whichever account that you're using, going to capture that. The next thing is to push. So we are going to push now our file to the Git repository. So you say -u and then say origin right together, and then in this case you're pushing either to main or to master and all that. So let me see. Git push -u origin. I failed to push some file off to origin. Let me see what could be the issue. Let me see. Git add commit -m into black brackets showing my first assignment. Okay. Git push push origin. Just a second. Let me just reload. Okay. Just a second. Let me see where we have the problem. Git push origin main. Error failed to push some reference to origin. This assignment does not match. Git commit first event. So let me see whether we have the assignment here. Yes. Good. One, two, one. Okay, that's okay. Git, so that we commit. So after commit, git to push. Let's see, to push minus origin. I'm experiencing some error, just a quick one. Let me do a quick one here. Just a second. Just create an exam. Just a second. So we have it here. So let me put a new folder. So initialization. Put one. Okay. Git status. Okay. So allow me to add the file here under this Excel. So we are going to copy from project. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come here and test. So we're going to have some file there. Okay. So which one is which? Oh, yes. So let's have some ls over there. So we come to this particular GitHub that we have created here. So we say git status. We have one file, git add. We have Excel. Let me take the file back to the folder. Make sure your file is within, what do you call it? Your file is within the Git functionality, the Git that under the test. This is where you have your folders right together, where you have your file and everything. So let's go to our desktop. Go to now the one that you have created. We have our files there. So I want to do the list to see how many files we have. We have the assignment there. We need to add add the assignments there together. Yeah. So we add git assignment, then we are good. Then git commit then minus M. We give the comment to be my first assignment, and now that. Then in push, we have already pushed one file. Then we have committed one file. Then git push -2 origin. Let me see what could be the real issue. Just a second. Let me just see what could be the real issue here. Just a second. Let me check the branch name so that we have master. Okay. Push -u origin. Please make sure it corrects. Okay. Git branch checkout. Once again, git branch checkout. Okay, git code checkout now. Let me see. Git branch checkout photo valid. Okay. Git checkout. Rename the branch to git branch. So what I'm trying to do here is to rename the branch. Yes, let me see whether we are good. Let me see git add git commit -m. Git push origin. Git push. Let's see. Origin name. Yes, could not read the remote repository. Awesome. Please make sure you have the correct access to the repository that exists. Yes, we do have access to the remote. Let me just try to. So let me do the verification. Git remote version. All right, so we are good. So what you do here is that after you have committed your files together, after we have committed our files, so you are able now to go to your repository to confirm if the file that you have pushed or committed has been captured in the whatever, what do you call it? In your what we call in your Git repository, so to speak, under your repository or the main repository that you had created together. And how to check that? Let me just share my screen. Just a second. Git repository. So I want to go to the file, push remote origin GitHub. Then let me see if I can add this to my coding. Just a second. Git commit git push. Push minus git push. So minus git push. Yeah. So yes, so this was the issue over here. This was the real issue. So you see, after I have cloned this remote GitHub code Excel over here, so I've been able to push. If you see here, like it's 100% and tells you that it is done, and you can see there's a link that it's supposed to give you here. So this is the link that we are supposed to copy. You come here and copy this link. If you want to check whether the files have been pushed, you copy this link. Then you go to the web browser. You can go to the web browser where we are. You share this, put it here, and then push the link. You copy paste. So now it's going to take you to the assignment that we have pushed 8 minutes ago. Are you together? So I think the remaining step that we had not done is to clone this particular, what do you call it, repository into a local repository. And of course, now if I go back in time, just for the next 2 minutes, if I go back into my screen, and then I want to add one more file here. In this particular case, let me add some more files there. I want to do some, yes. So let me see here. I want to have, yes, let me just do multiple files here. Then I come to desktop, I go to the test. and then I paste them here. So I want to go back to my Git. Let me just first check the status. You check the status. Now the status tells you that we have more files. We have this file that we have added. We have Spark investment, and we have Spark funds investment Power BI file. So the first thing is to the same case, even if you did list, it is going to give you the number of files that you have. Same case, list and status, they work more or less the same in that particular order. So what we are going to do here is to just do what we call git add, and then instead of adding a single file, you put add space dot, so that it will going to add all these files right together. So you put dot and then you say git add. So now, of course, the Excel file does not have what you call a commit checkout. You can delete this. In fact, you can, if you want to be left with what we are working on. For this git, you do ls once again, and then you'll have assignment there. Then we do the git add space, and then so what we're going to do is to commit, what do you call it? We're going to commit all the files minus m, and then we give our double quotes here. So we are going to that we have added more files. Right, together we have added more files. And then you say, okay. Then the files that you have added will be listed here. Right, together the SQL investment, the Spark, all of them, you can see them here, the 3 files added. Then after you commit them, now we are going to push them right together to our main branch now, in this case. Now it's going now to push our 3 files into the main. Instead of pushing one single files, we are going to have 3 more files added into a repository. Same case to like our previous one, you copy the link here, or you can go back to our previous, what we call it, repository, and then you refresh, you just refresh. And then you see we have added more files here, right together. And you can see who added these files, right together. In case there was any readme, you can come here and see. If you don't have, you just click here and say add one. I can say we have, you can say I'm working on an investment, let's say investment project, for example, pertaining, let's say, in which area investment document for, let's say, Uber company. I have pushed. You can just say, what do you call it? What does it entail, or what is the scope of the work? Yeah, the scope of the work is what? The scope of the work is about understanding, are you together? Understanding the market dynamics. Maybe you want to help the Uber people to be in a position to know which areas, which days have more customers. Is it Friday, end of the month? Is it, which is it entertainment industries that has a lot of people and all that? So it's a description. This is the first one. Can we say this is the first commit? Or maybe you are reading. So do you want to commit directly to the main branch, or do you want to create a branch for this commit? Now, the reason why they have 2 options is because 1, it helps you to understand whether if you're working for the other branches, so you put the new branch, because you don't want to push your changes or your unfinished work to the main branch, because the main branch is the final one, right, together. So now you create a new branch for this commit and start to pull request. So you'll be able now to review, to work, and do all that. For me, maybe I can say I want to put this under the new branch, and then you can put it under the name. You can give the name that you want to give it here. For example, patch 1 or patch 2 or patch 3 or whichever that you want to, and then you propose the changes. So once you do that, you can see we have our main branch, and then we have our patch 1 here. And then it asks you whether you want to, what do you call it, to merge and all that. And then it can tell you this is my whatever, my first commit. It has your preview here, the first commit. If you want to create pull request here, you can be able to create either a draft, or you can either create what we call a pull request, where you can open a pull request that is already if that is the case, you go ahead and you create that pull request, whereby now the person who will be coming to check what do you call it, your repository, they'll come to see the branch that you have created together, and they'll be able to review. For example, market the markdown is supported, or you want to paste up and maybe add some files. If for example, the pull request is has been reviewed and all that, the owner, if you can see here, we have the owner together, and then of course the person who is coming to review your branch or whatever the case, they can be able to go through whatever you have created and all that, and then they can be able to close your pull request in that particular order. If you didn't want to do that, and you know for sure that the project that you're working on, what do you call it, the project that you're working on is okay together, you can just go ahead and push it in the main branch and all that. So I want we do a demonstration with one of the students, kindly for the next 4 minutes. If there is anyone who is ready to share their screen, I would be happy to help them through, and then we push 1 or 2 projects in their local machine. Anybody who is available, Ken or any other one, any other person? Anybody with a GitHub account who want us to push their code? Ken, are you available? All right. Any questions so far? Any question? All right. If there's no question, I beg to close the end of the training there. So just to have an overview, we said just to have a recap of it, we said what you're supposed to do is very simple. You go to your main branch, and then you go to your repository. The first thing you do is you create a repository there, and you give it a name. I'll just give it Power BI for now, because a lot has been done. Then I'll give it XXX. I'll make it private. And then you create your repository there, together. Then the first thing that you're going to get is this link that you're going to copy. You copy this link. You can either copy it together. Then you can go back to your files where you have saved your project over here. I'll just create the last one called test2. This is the recap so that you don't forget. I'll give it test2. Then I'll just right click here and then go to more option, and then you open your Git bash here. The first thing you do after you run your Git bash is to initialize it. You just initialize it. You say Git bash, git init. This means you have initialized it. And then the second thing is to do git clone. You clone your repository. and then you paste it. You paste the link under your Git, and then you delete all this. You're left with the link alone. Sorry. After that, we clone the Power BI. We are ready. We can do a Git status to see the status of our Git. Then repository, we can see we have Power BI, but we don't have any files yet. The next thing that we need to do is to remote it, clone it remotely. So you come here and add this, still the same. So you come back here and go to your repository. Here, let's go. This is the latest. So you paste this link here, you clone it so that we can be able to push our code remotely. Bas. So now we need to add files in that folder. We need to add some files. So allow me to come to copy these files here. I can copy them there. I'm just assuming that you have these folders somewhere. These are just the Git files that over here. You can delete this if you want to be left with that. Then we do ls first to see the list of files that we have there. I can see I have assignment 4, investments, packs, and all that. So after that, we do what we call the commit. You add first, and then because you don't want to add a particular whatever, what do you call it? You don't want to add a particular file. Let's say, for example, SQL, Sparks, or SQL investment. You just say git and space full stop, and then you say enter. And then you are going to have what do you call it? You add all these particular files that we have here. After you add them, you commit. So git commit -m, and then you tell us what are you committing. Added more files. Added what do you call it? More files into my new repo. Right, together in my new repository. And then you say, okay, all right, we shall see that 4 files have been added, right, together. The assignment document, the investment opportunity analysis questions, fact investment, and of course, lastly, the fact fund investment Power BI file. So after that, we are going to push it. We want to push it, what do you call it? You push it to the main, for example, git checkout git checkout main. So did not match the file known. Git checkout out. Yep. Master, let me say git push -u origin, and then it's going to give you failed reference. Yeah, so git already on master, right, together. Git git origin push and all that. Yeah, you have to make sure that you're in the main. Just a second for that particular order. Yeah, so we need to get to the main branch, git branch master. Let me do that. Git branch. let me see, git branch minus m, sorry, then master main, perfect, git push origin, git push origin. What do you call it? Minus origin. Git push minus view origin, then we give it to our main. Yes. So basically, what you do is that for you to change from master, if you want to change from master to main, because for me, I'm using masters. If you want to shift from master to main, you can do that. If you want to push from main to master, same case, you do this. And then you can change from master to main, and then change this, then main, and then you put it master, go back to master as well. So you can be able to shift between the two. So that can be able to, if you're pushing from main, make sure that it is in the main. If you're pushing from master, you do the same. If you're pushing from what do you call it? If you're pushing from the main itself, you have to change, and then you pass right the one that you are in and the one that you want to shift into, and then immediately you change from master to main to master, and all that. First, let's go to our link. We copy our link to see the new codes that we have pushed here. Sorry. Yes, you can be able to come here, and then you can see my Power BI. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah, can share my screen. So you see the Power BI, we can be able to have it here under this particular repository called Power BI. And I have pushed how many files? I have pushed 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 files that I have pushed. If you want to add README, you can do that and all that. Of course, going back to your repository, you'll be able to see the number of repository that you have made here, the Power BI, the Excel, and the Excel 24. So if, let's say, for example, you're working for a different project, if it is Power BI project, we shall have our own repository called Power BI, and maybe you can give different name here. The Excel, if you have projects that you have done in Excel, kindly put them the way we've done and all that. And then once you open your repository, definitely you are going to have all the files here once and for all, and then add a README for us. Tell us what this project entails. You can say what you're working on, the type of, what do you call it, the data that you had, the SQL, blah, 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 and all those. So are we together up to that point? Are we together? Any question? All right. So I tend to stop at that point in case there
Excuse
is.
me. I have a question.
Okay.
I noticed that every time you do either branch or something like that before you write the main or master or something, then you have a minus M or minus V minus something. What are those?
Okay, thank you. I hope you can see my repository. You can see my browser.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So what happened is that once you create a new repository, it guides you. It gives you what we call, it gives you the, what do we call it? The steps on how you're going to push your code. Are you together? So a quick one, like now this one here, we created a repository called Power BI, and then it gives you the command line that you're going to have. The one is git init. So you run this first. Together, you run it first. You initialize that particular repository called Power BI. Then the next thing is you add git add. Now, instead of giving the name of the file that you are adding, if you have multiple files, you just say git add space dot. You add your files. The next thing is git commit. These are default command lines. So you say git commit -m, first commit or second commit of that commit, whichever commit that you're making. Are you together? Then after that, you push your the files that you have committed over here. But now before then, if you have not added your git what do you call it, the git the Power BI, the git repository to your local repository, so you say git remote add. Now you add this into your local machine such that now you can be able to push from your machine, and now the remote repository, which is now under this website, or let's say the user interface, will be able now to receive whatever you are pushing from your local machine will be pushed to your online version. Are you together? So now it just guide you to be in a position to understand that this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step, this is the fourth step if you have not cloned, and this is the fifth step now, which is the final. And I said that for you, if you are under master branch, you have to change. You have to change. Now this code is not there. You just, I think I shared with the notes I gave you, whereby you can be able to let me see exactly. If you want to create a new branch, you can check out and you check in. Are you together? If you want to take out a main, you want to change the what do you call it? The main branch or whatever the case you are using. Are you together? So now you push under the branch name that you are using. If it is main or if it is master, you have to use masters and all that. So now over here, over this particular case, I'm having main as the default push domain or command line. I together the git, or what we call the git push origin main, which is now here. It's the one that we have, the git push origin main. But now the branch that I'm working on is not main. I'm working on master branch. Are you together? So if you're working on master branch, then you have to make sure that you have to move from master branch to main. That's why we have git branch -m, and then you move out from the one that you are in and you move into the one that you want to. So this is the one that you're already in, and this is the one that you want to check into. So if you want to interchange them, are you together? It is the same code, but in this case, masters comes first because we are already in master, and then we go to main, so that we can now be able to push our whatever, what do you call it? We can now be able to push our code into the main branch. So you just click enter, and then automatically the branch changes together. And then from there, you can now be able to push your, what do you call it? Your code, the one that you are working on. You cannot be able to push all the files that you had committed now up here. Whatever you committed above git remote add where is commit. Yes, whatever you committed up here is going now to be added to the what? To the main branch. And of course, now because I have pushed everything, it tells me that everything is up to date. Branch main set up to track origin main. So we don't have anything yet there. So is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Right. Any other question before we call it a day? Any question? All right. Yeah, I hope in case you come across any challenges, please, I'm always reachable. You can reach out to me either via WhatsApp. We can have a one-on-one conversation. I think that's the best thing. When you have your folders or your files ready, we can be able to push together. That's why I wanted at least I could have helped one of you to push either one or two projects. But if you come across just any challenge, kindly let me know. So thank you so much for listening, and I give back to you, Malim.